Hello, everyone. My name is Gregory Q. Jenkins, and I am the founder and CEO of Quintasia Studios. This is the Quintasia Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Today, we have another special guest for you. Now, you may recall that about a week or so ago, we interviewed filmmaker Delana Waldron, and we were talking about her film Era. And I remarked, I said, who is the person who is playing Harriet Tubman? This person is, fantastic, stupendous. And, like, wow. I really enjoyed the performance. And she says, oh, yeah, that's Christine Dixon. I said, wow, I would love to have her on the podcast. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as that song says, no, I'm not. I'm going to do you a favor. I'm not going to sing. You
Thank
almost. we almost had a tragedy there. I was going to sing it to you, but no, I'm not going to sing it. Long story short, the actor who played, and forgive me for using that word, actor, who played Christine, and you'll understand what that means later in our conversation. Who played Harriet Tubman is with us. So please welcome to the podcast, everyone, Christine Dixon. Welcome.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Harvey and Gregory. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The honor is all ours.
Yes. And like I said, we really enjoyed your performance. And by the way, to the members of our audience, she did win an award for this. So I do feel like it's important to point that out, that it's not just us that thought that was pretty good. So if that's one great reason why you should see this film. It's called Era. That's ERA. It's on. You can find it on our Vimeo on demand page. I highly recommend that you check it out. But today we are here talking with you, Christine, and we would like our audience to get to know you a little bit better. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Okay, great. Well, I was born by the river in a little tent. No, I was born in Brooklyn, East Flatbush. And yeah, my mom was a classically trained opera singer. She studied at the Conservatory of Music in Switzerland and, traveled around the world, belly danced in India, performed in Germany, then finally came to America, studied at NYU. And so I've always wanted to be in the arts. When I did my first musical, I was just shy of 6 years old. I was a singing stegosaurus. So I knew that I wanted to do musicals and be an opera singer after my mother. However, in my early teens and my preteens, people kept, oh, Chris, let me put you in my show. I'm like, but I'm not an actor. I'm an opera singer, darling, And they were like, yeah, boring. Here, take the script. And I would always be the first person off book, with my phenomenal memory. And yeah, so I just said, okay, just don't call me an actor. Do not insult me, but I will go ahead and I will help you out and I will be a part of this production. And then that just kept going and going and going. And then I decided, well, my sisters kept telling me, oh, you're a professional auditioner. When are you going to get a real job? So I said, a real job, what's that? So they said, steady income, not living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm like, boring. It's exciting not knowing when you're going to get paid, and being able to travel. So my sisters, one of them said, you need to go to med school. One said, you need to go to law school. The other one said you should be a banker. The other one said you should be a registered nurse. The other one said you should just be a kept woman. So I'm like, okay, no. You kick rocks, we don't stop. And no, thank you. So I said, you know what? So I'll never forget. So I went out. I was living in Brooklyn at the time, around the corner from Brooklyn College, and I went to this little patch of grass. And I don't know why, it looked like it was meant for me to stand there. And so I said, okay. I looked up to the heavens. I said, my exact words were God, Allah, Buddha, Yahweh, Yeshua, Creator, Infinite Spirit, I don't know what you want me to do with my life, but I know that you want me to do something. And if it's not your will for me to be in the arts, that's okay, but remove it from my heart. And then if you want me to go to med school or go to law school, put a new passion, a new desire in my heart. However, you only have 30 days to give me this new desire. And in those 30 days, I will not discuss show business. I will not read any, show business publications. I will not audition for anything. I will be still. So, and I'll never forget, so I went upstairs, I hopped in the tub, I got out, and every day for 30 days, I just took a bath and went to bed. Took a bath and went to bed for 30 days. That's it. And then the 30th day, I checked my email. I said, okay, I'm ready. Come on, universe, I'm ready. So I checked my email, nothing, no sign, absolutely nothing. 31st day, nothing. 32nd day, nothing. 33rd day, I get an email from some company, Dramatune on Staten Island, asking me, oh, we received your headshot and resume a while ago. Can you please come to Staten Island and audition for our original musical called Oh, What a Night? So I'm like, okay, all right, this is funny. And so at the time I was working, I was auxiliary on Staten Island at the 120th precinct across the street from the Staten Island Ferry. So, I shared most things with my, police coordinator. So I'll never forget. So we're in the office one day. It's a Wednesday evening, I believe. And he's like, oh, Chris, you have an audition tonight. I said, no, I don't. He said, Chris, you told me a week ago that you have an audition tonight over at Snug Harbor Culture Center. I said, Kev, you don't think I would know if I had an audition? Are you kidding me? Please get out of here. Of course I would know. It's tomorrow. He said, no, I really don't think so. I'm like, you're so silly. So I go into my phone calendar to prove to him that he's incorrect. And not only was he correct, but it ends in half an hour. And the buses run along schedule with the ferry. So I had just missed the 8:30 buses. So the next buses were coming at 5 to 9. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but this is my sign from God. I can't miss this opportunity. So I run outside, full uniform. It's pouring raining, no umbrella. My mascara was not waterproof, my signature red lipstick. So I run down the stairs of the precinct, and there are a few officers outside looking at me like, did we get a call? Like, where is she going by herself? So I run across the street to the bus stop. And like I said, so now it's 8:35 and the buses run according to the ferry schedule every half hour. So I'm like, oh no, oh my gosh. So from around the corner, there's like a little bend you could see up the block. And I see a little accessoride bus, the accessoride that carries the senior citizens. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I run into the street and I jump and I'm waving just like this. Wait, stop. So he comes to like a screeching halt in the rain, mind you. And so he opens up the door. He said, officer, what's the problem? I said, there's a situation at Snug Harbor Culture Center. I need you to get me there now. So he looks to the left. There's a fleet of police cars. So he said, that doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you just take a RMP? I said, no, they can't see me coming. I have to come in undercover. And just go. Don't question me. Just go. He like, seriously. So he closes the door. There's one senior in the back. And I'm like, oh, good evening, ma'am. How are you? Sir, go. So he peels off in the rain. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. So finally he gets me there. Now, this place was established approximately 1833. The Navy lived there during the Prohibition era. So the grounds have a lot of buildings. So I run off the accessoride. I'm like, thank you so much. So I run across the street, run up the stairs. I'm running. And then I realize, oh my gosh, there's 23 buildings here. Which building am I supposed to go to? So I'm standing there and I said, okay, be still, just be still and just trust your gut. And I started to drift to the left. I took off running, puddles, mud, you name it. I get to a road. There's the Children's Museum. I said, okay, it can't be there. The music hall, I'm like, I don't think it's there. Then straight ahead is a little itty bitty church where the Navy used to go to their church services. However, they now changed it, and which I didn't know. So I'm just looking left and right, like, oh my gosh, which way do I go? It's 8:55. So I closed my eyes again, and I said, okay, be still. And I started to go forward. So I said, the church, really? So I said, okay. So I start running. I run across the road, and then there are about 10 steps going down, pretty steep before you open the door. So I'm just running down the stairs, but it's dark, so I couldn't see. So I slipped. And I went down 3 steps, and there's mud and a puddle, and the doorknob was right there. So I used the doorknob to pull me up, and that actually opened the door. I step inside. This darling couple, the woman Mona from England. So she was like, "Oh, hello, darling. We're wrapping up, but please come in." She was like, "Are you Christine Dixon?" I said, "Yes, yes, ma'am, I am." My mascara was bleeding all down my face. My red lipstick had smeared across my lips. And so she was like, "Okay, love, chop, chop, sing for me." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I just belted out, "Oh, Holy Night." And then she was just like, "Hmm, hmm, hmm." So then they said, "Okay, thank you, love." So she asked me for my headshot and resume. It was folded up in 8 pieces in my right pocket. So I took it out and I said, "I promise you, Miss Martell, I'm way more professional than this." And she said, "Oh, darling, don't worry. The fact that you came here in uniform is fabulous. You should always audition in uniform. I love officers and I thank you for your service." So I handed her this wrinkly, damp shot and resume. And then she looked at it. She handed it to her husband, Ralph Martell, who's an amazing songwriter and composer from LA. And long story short, a year goes by. I don't hear from them. So it's a year later, approximately 13 months later, and I'm like, "Okay, well, Allah, Buddha, Yahweh, you're sure? I guess I didn't get the job, but you didn't tell me if you wanted me to go to med school, law school, if you want me to be a registered nurse, you want me to be a banker. Like, I don't know, I'm even more stuck. I don't know what you want me to do with my life." And I was like, "I don't like this feeling." So then one day I get a call, and so I'm like, "Oh, good afternoon, Chris Dixon." "Oh, hello, darling." I'm like, "Morna?" She's the only Brit who calls me. So I said, "Morna?" She was like, "Oh, yes, love. It's me." I'm like, "You're the only English person who calls me." I said, "Listen, I haven't heard from you in a year. What's going on with the play?" "Oh, we put it on. It was fantastic. It opened to rave reviews." I said, "Yeah, but it opened without me. What happened?" She said, "Oh, darling, you didn't get the part." I said, "Well, I figured that. It's been 13 months, but why not?" She said, "We just didn't think you were a fit." So I said, "Oh, well, maybe that is a sign from, the heavens that I need to keep it moving." So I said, "Well, what do you want? Why are you calling me anyway? I didn't get the part. It's 13 months later." She said, "I'm calling you because my husband and we wrote another musical. This one is an interactive children's musical, and we would like you to be the star of it." I said, "Wait, wait, wait. You call me to offer me a starring role?" She said, "Yes, darling." I said, "All right, well, like, what role is it?" She said, "You are going to be our lead singing reindeer." I said, "A reindeer? You called me 13 months later to offer me the role of a reindeer?" I said, "Please hold." I run downstairs to that same exact patch of grass 13 months previously, and I stretched my arms up, and I was very stern this time. I said, "Allah, Buddha, Yahweh, Yeshua, universe, creator, whoever you are, I'm annoyed right now. I asked you to give me a sign 13 months ago. You didn't give me the part in the musical. I slipped down the stairs, and now Warner's pulling me to give me the role of a reindeer. I'm a little insulted, but I'll do it. But if it's not your will, block it." Just like that, my exact words. I kept Mona on hold while I did all this. I run back up the stairs, and then I muted Mona, and I said, "Hello?" She said, "Yes, darling, where were you?" I said, I had to consult with someone. And I said, "Okay, I'll be your little reindeer." I said, "Does it pay?" She said, "Of course, darling. You're not a professional until you get paid." I said, "All right." She said, "It's only 4 shows." I said, "Oh, 4 shows, I can do it." She said, "All shows are in Staten Island. Rehearsals start in 2 days." I said, "All right, fine, whatever, I'll be there." So I showed up 2 days later. It was only 4 shows. It was my job to get every single child in the audience on stage with me. And then while we're on stage, I'm singing the cute little original Christmas songs. However, during the show, 3 demon children who are dressed in all black, they're part of the script. They come out with an actual lasso. They throw it around Santa Claus and they grab him off stage. Well, let me tell you, those 30 children I brought on stage with me are now screaming and crying because Santa just got kidnapped. They don't know these children are part of the show, the little demon children. So Santa's yelling, my name is Dasher. Dasher, help me. And the kids are like, oh my God. So the kids run off the stage into the audience. I'm on stage all by myself, not classically trained, didn't go to acting school. I did not know what to do. So I look over for Morna or her husband for them to like nod to me, like gesture, anything, like help me. Morna folded her arms and looked at me like, what are you gonna do about this situation? So I quickly closed my eyes and my instinct just had me walking forward off the stage. I walked off the stage into the audience, a cute little chubby boy named Tommy. And I don't know why I went straight to Tommy. And I said, Tommy, darling, Dasher needs you to come back on stage. I need your help finding Santa Claus. No, get away, never. I'm never coming back on stage. I'm never coming back on stage. No. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, so I said, okay, Dasher. No, I said, okay, well, I'm Dasher, but what if I let you be Rudolph? He's the creme de la creme. I'm just a bootleg version of Rudolph. But what if I let you be Rudolph? Will you come back on stage with me, please, Tommy? And he stood up and he said, I can be Rudolph? I said, yes, but we have to go now because we have a show to do, honey. So I need you to come back to the stage with me. Like, all this is actually happening during the show. So then Tommy takes my one finger and I walk to the stage with Tommy, and then the other 29 children follow. And the show continues. So we did 4 shows. And then the last show, a little child jumped on my back, grabbed my antlers. Another child kicked me in my shin. Couldn't kick them back because they were witnesses. So little, so I was basically abused. So Morna called me up the following, we ended in December. She calls me January. And she's like, hey, darling, you are fantastic. The audience absolutely loved you. I would like you to revise the role of Dasher. I said, no, never. I was abused. I was harassed. I was nearly molested by their fathers. I said, no, I will never be Dasher again. I said, listen, this is not what I prayed for. This is not what I signed up for. I said, however, I wish you all the best and I thank you for thinking of me. She said, don't you dare hang up on me. She said, you will be Dasher and I will give you $25 more. I said, all right, well, I guess money talks and it's not like I have anything else to do. So I did it the second year in a row. And I said, listen, Morna, this is really my last year. Do not ever call me again to be Dasher, please. She said, okay, love, no problem. So I did Dasher again, same thing, jumped on my back, pulled my antlers, kicked me in the shin, stepped on my toes, got hit on my fathers. And that was it. So I was able to burn the script. So then same thing, January 3rd, I get a phone call. Hello, darling. Morna, before you even start with whatever reason you're calling me, if it has to do with anything in the arts, I'm not interested. She was like, oh no, I said if it has to do with anything regarding a reindeer, any type of animals, anything, hang up now. She said, oh, Tony, stop it. She said, listen, when I first came to this country, the first African American I read about was Harriet Tubman, and I've always wanted to write a show about her life. And after seeing you as a reindeer, I knew that I wanted you to be a part of it. I said, oh, okay, well, I'd love to be a part of the Harriet Tubman cast. When the cast is assembled, let me know so we can have our first staged reading. And she said, oh, darling, it is a one-woman show. You will be the only cast member. I said, what? You lost your mind. First of all, you had me as a reindeer. Now you want me to be Harriet? Her shoes are too big for me to walk in. I can barely research how she spoke, how she walked, her mannerisms, any of that. And for 3, a one-woman show, I am not classically trained. I know how to act up. I know how to act a fool, but I really don't know how to act and just captivate an audience. She said, darling, when you were a reindeer, how you handle those children, you have a natural instinct to really just, you know what to do with an audience. School can never teach you that. You naturally have got it. And I said, yeah, whatever. I'm not interested, but I wish you all the best with your Harriet Tubman project. And she said, no, don't you dare hang up. I'm like, oh, Lord. I said, listen, Your first job in America was opposite Billy D. Williams on Broadway in A Taste of Honey. Why don't you go bother a Broadway actress or go bother an actress in Hollywood? Give it to them. They're trained, they want to do it, they're used to those audiences. Just let me be. Like, maybe I will go to med school. Like, this really, I don't think this life is for me. And she said, oh, pish posh, darling, pish posh. I said, listen, if you write me a letter to Juilliard or the Yale School of Dramatic Arts, I will go and I will come back in a few years and I will be the best Harriet Tubman actress you have ever seen. She said, no, no, no. Those places regarding you specifically, it will strip you of your natural talent. I will not have that. I'm from England. The greatest actors come from England. So if I'm telling you you've got it, darling, you've got it. You just got to believe it. So I said, wow, you have that much faith in me? No one has ever said those things to me before. I said, okay, I'll do it if it's one show. She said, darling, it's 4 shows. I said, 4 shows? Okay, I'll do it if they're each 20 minutes long. Darling, they're each an hour long, and you must do a question and answer session after each and every show. I said, wait, wait, wait. You want me to stand on stage for an hour by myself and now I have to talk to the audience and answer their questions? You do realize I was just a reindeer. Like, I don't think I have these capabilities that you're entrusting me with. And she said, you've got it. Rehearsals start in Manhattan in 3 days. Bye, love. Hung up. So we opened up on Staten Island with the first show, and 4 days ago in Newark, New Jersey was my 622nd show and my 616th standing ovation.
Wow.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That that gives you the history of how Christine Dixon came to be Harriet Tubman herself. I'm going to take a quick little break here. For those of our audience who may not have joined at the top of the podcast, this is the Quintasia podcast, and we're talking today with Christine Dixon. She stars in the movie Era, which we are now showing on our video on demand pages, and we hope you'll check it out. Also, let me also take a quick note that however you are coming across this podcast, whether it be on the visual portion, which is on Facebook and YouTube, or you're listening to the audio portion on our various podcast networks like Apple, Google, Spotify, we hope you subscribe. We're talking to people who are media and entertainment personalities and those who are in the fight for social justice. We believe that the media has an important role to play in that fight. And we're getting together various personalities, and today we have with us Christine Dixon. So thank you for giving us that background information as to how where you started out and how you came to be. Now you mentioned, okay, so you've been doing this the Harriet Tubman show, this one woman show, obviously for a while now. In your performances, and obviously we've had discussions prior to this podcast. So I was wondering if you would share with the audience some of the people you have met during your performances, because you've come across some interesting folks who've been in that audience.
Yes, definitely. So, well, for starters, Harriet Tubman's great, great grandnieces. So that was pretty awesome up in Auburn, New York. Years ago, there was a singer by the name of Aaliyah who unfortunately perished in a plane crash. Her aunt, Carolyn Horton, her mother's sister, reached out to me and was like, oh, we heard about your Harriet Tubman show. We're doing a Harriet Tubman pilgrimage. We would love for you to come up to Harriet's home, the home she actually purchased after the Civil War ended. And I was like, oh my goodness. I'm like, okay. Approximately 350 people showed up, and They gave me a tour of her home. It's a national landmark now, so unfortunately I wasn't able to take photos. And then they brought me to Fort Hill Cemetery, where Harriet Tubman was actually buried. And Harriet Tubman's family and I, and many guests, we sang Let My People Go, which Harriet Tubman was called the Moses of our people, of her people. So we sang that. We sang Wade in the Water, which Harriet Tubman actually sang, which I sing. I sing the same old Negro spirituals that Harriet Tubman actually sang on the plantation during her travels. And then we sang them at her tombstone where she was buried March 10th, 1913, where she was laid to rest with full military honors at the tender age of 93 years old. So that was pretty cool. And then there's a young lady named Yandy Smith from Love and Hip Hop New York, I believe. I had no idea who she was, and my show's very interactive, so I just grabbed random people and make them a part of my show, make them my props. I had no idea. I grabbed Yandy and her son, so they're in the show. They're along my train. And then another show, there was one of the tallest men in the audience. I had him be Massa, even though he was a brother. So I brought him on. I had no idea that was Dougie Fresh's father, and I'm like, oh, I used to beatbox on the plantation too. Okay. And so then throughout the travels, I met with Regina King, Lynn Whitfield, Quentin Tarantino. I was invited to Reverend Jesse Jackson's 70th birthday party up in Harlem. Who else? Oh my goodness. Casey Lemons, the director of the movie, Harriet Tubman, Gloria Estefan, Emilio Estefan. Who else? What's his name? Not Al Pacino, the other one, Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro. Yeah.
Yes, Robert De Niro. John Travolta. Let's see, Spike Lee. Spike Lee said he's proud of the work that I do. Who else? Tyler Perry said he's proud of the work that I do as Harriet Tubman. Louis Gossett Jr. told me he's proud of the work that I do as Harriet Tubman. Sandra Bullock, met with her. She told me she's proud of the work that I do as Harriet Tubman. So many. Just a lot of people. I can't think who else. I spoke to Oprah about it, and she was like, oh, Chris Dixon, New York City, Harriet Tubman, I'll be in touch. That was 5 years ago, Oprah. Oprah steamed me up, but she was a sweetheart about it. Spoke with Angela Bassett about it. Susan Taylor, the Essence woman with the cornrows.
Mm-hmm.
Had the pleasure of meeting with Terry McMillan obviously before she passed. Who else? Bishop T.D. Jakes, Diane Sawyer. Ray J. I actually got the chance to work with Ray J on a music video in West Virginia, and Jasmine Sullivan. I don't know,
Well,
just regular people.
Well, there definitely, have been some extraordinary people. I don't know if I would say they were regular people, but the extraordinary people that do this. Performing this play has definitely given you the opportunity to, to meet. It is interesting how, you once you got onto this path, the direction, and that's the way life kind of works. How it takes your life into directions that you didn't necessarily see for yourself, but it opened up such a richer experience, if you will. And that's when things are going well, I find that that's the way life works. We certainly 2 years ago, I wouldn't have contemplated doing a podcast. So, and had that not happened, and had I not, made some other choices along with people on my team, we would not have had a chance to meet today. So it's interesting how all of these series of coincidences, and I don't necessarily believe in coincidences, but how the stars aligned and how our paths crossed. You won the 2020 Best Actress Award for your portrayal of Harriet Tubman in the film. era from the New York women in film and television. Would you ever consider playing Harriet in a movie?
Of course, and it's funny, when I met Casey Lemons, who directed Harriet starring Cynthia Erivo, I met Casey Lemons like 1 month after it opened. And so I'm standing with her, and her husband was standing next to us. He was a gentleman who played the preacher in the movie Harriet with Cynthia Erivo. And I'm telling Casey Lemons who I am, what I do, and she's looking at me like, "What? You portray Harriet?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. Over 8 years, I met with her family. I own the show now. I travel the country. I've performed it in 3 countries and 33 cities around the country." And she's like, "I didn't know about you. Like, I wish I would have known about you back then." And so she's like, "Give me your card. I'd love to audition you for my next film." And then COVID happened, but
Mm.
definitely, yes, I would definitely portray her in a movie, a feature length film that I would also be a creative consultant on, to make sure that we don't steer too far away from her path, her journey. She always traveled in pants, and she was always, even though, she never had any military experience, and at the time she didn't learn how to read or write, but her instinct, her gut, she was always able to, get off the path of the bounty hunters and the dogs and the sheriffs. And they said they were looking for a man for years because they said no Black woman is capable or intelligent enough of doing all this. So they were looking for a Black man for a while. And also because she always dressed in pants. She always traveled in pants. She said, she would always look like a farmhand, you know. So, but yeah, I
Yeah,
would definitely put her.
that's something I would like to see, and without straying too much into commentary. Yes, I would like to see a film that's a little closer to, that's a little more historically accurate as
Yes,
to what Harriet Tubman, her extraordinary life. I'm one of those people that, and I understand the whole dramatic license thing, but I think when you're telling a story about historical figures, um, I personally want to make a film that, I think the actual Harriet Tubman was, fantastic enough. I don't think that she needed any embellishment.
yes,
I think her story is, you know, extraordinary, and it should be required reading for every American, because this was a part of American history, not just
yes,
African American history. It was part of American history.
yes.
And she was important, and that's why she was recently inducted into the Military Hall of
Military
Fame.
Hall of Fame,
Yeah,
yes.
she's important to the Civil War effort, and that's something that not even I really was aware of. She was a spy
Yeah,
for the North.
yeah,
So she had quite the life and quite the perspective, and but I will. We could go on talking about that. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is the this is the Quintasia podcast, and we are talking with Christine Dixon. As our audience may know how we do things around here, it's our management team from Quintasia Studios, and it's us having a conversation with our guests. So I would like to now bring in our CTO, Harv Lacko, who will continue the conversation. Harv?
Pleased to have you, Christine, or should I say Harriet?
Harriet's fine, just fine, darling, just fine.
So could you talk to us a little bit about, your experience with the Tubman family, the Harriet Tubman Purple Hat Society, and how you've kept that sort of legacy alive, and sort of maybe how she's spoken to you to keep that legacy alive?
Yes, definitely, Harv. And thank you for that wonderful question. Now, I definitely feel that Harriet Tubman and the ancestors are guiding me. Because I cannot tell you, I wanted to throw in the towel on numerous occasions. I will not lie to you. And I felt like Harriet was like, don't you dare. Don't you dare not share mine. Like I specifically chose you. And she used to come to me in dreams. So I actually, when I was
Really?
interviewed by the Huffington Post, I told them that she actually came to me in a dream. And not only that, shortly after Harriet Tubman came to me in a dream, her great grandniece, Pauline Johnson, who lives up in Auburn, New York, approximately 5 hours by car north of Staten Island, and she squeezed my hand and she said, baby, you're the only one I know who does this show for a living all year round. And then Pauline leaned into me and she grabbed my left hand and she said, and baby, you are my absolute favorite. So I said, oh, shucks, I got the seal of approval from Harriet Tubman's family. Maybe I do have something here. So honestly, it took about the 6th or 7th year. It took 6 to 7 years for me to realize maybe I am good at this. Maybe not an actor, but maybe I'm just, I'm good at portraying Harriet Tubman. And today I really feel that Harriet Tubman chose me. Today I feel that Harriet and the ancestors want me to carry on the message and the legacy. Because if you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. And a lot of people feel, oh, Black women this, Black women that. Are you kidding me? We have been the backbone of the world. And a lot of children will say to me, oh, boo, she's over 200 years old. What do we need to learn from her? Boo, why do we even have to? She's whack. Harriet's whack. I'm like, you bite your tongue, little boy. And but the thing with me is not that I didn't modernize it too much, because Harriet Tubman doesn't really need to be modernized. The story is amazing in itself. However, depending on the audience, when I perform for 2nd grade to freshmen in college.
So Christine, or Harriet, as you become Harriet, it seems like you've got quite the career as Harriet, and not the actor, but as actually portraying Harriet. Talk to me a little bit about your passion with opera, and how are you going to pursue, or if you're going to pursue, sort of bringing the opera portion into your life? Or you just talk to me a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, yeah, so I just kind of still wanted to honor my mom. I'm not gonna pursue it wholeheartedly anymore because I do have Harriet. However, till this day, people still book me to sing Ave Maria in Latin and Conte Partir by Andrea Bocelli, Time to Say Goodbye, in Italian and English. So I still do that. And depending on my audience, I only do this for the seniors. So I have many different versions of Harriet Tubman herself. The original script that Mona Murphy Martell wrote for me was approximately an hour. Today, it's approximately 3 hours and 45 minutes. So I performed it at the Dramatists Guild on Broadway. Then I performed it at the Jewish Women's Center on 72nd and Broadway, the Children's Museum of Manhattan, and Ocho Rios, Jamaica. So depending on the audience, well, they're always, like I say, the senior crowd, because they will appreciate it more. When Harriet Tubman does get to the Freedom Land, I do sing Ave Maria.
So no chance of you making a Harriet Tubman at the Met and getting someone to write you a script at the Met?
Anything's possible. Well, Mona Murphy Martell, she did write me a screenplay for Harriet Tubman herself. So we already have like the movie ready to go. She wrote it for me 2 years ago, and I said to her, I want a screenplay for Harriet Tubman. Because I know the great and late Cicely Tyson did The Woman Called Moses, and so Mona was like, oh, well, let's get on it right now, darling. So she went home and started writing Harriet Tubman herself a screenplay, But yeah, I mean, Harriet could totally be at the Met, instead of the my train, she'll just be my train. I mean, I don't know how many, people will enjoy it, but I'm sure there's a crowd for everyone, So.
Absolutely. So you seem like you're still getting your opera and sort of your dedication to your mom and, sort of the historical Harriet Tubman. I mean, it seems like you've really found your path. So when you were on that patch of grass, it seems like you did get your answers, correct?
Yes, I did, Harv, definitely. But it didn't come when I needed it to, or when I wanted it to. But it did come when I guess, when I needed it to, not when I wanted it to. But maybe that's good, because if I would have received Harriet Tubman within that 30-day period, I don't think I would have had the maturity or the discipline, because not only do I direct it, I book it, I produce it, and I star in it. So I'm a team of one. So my cast party, I'm always by myself, you know?
Well, not any longer. You now have the Quintasia family to include.
Well, yeah. See, I should throw a cast party just to have one, just so you guys can show up.
We would
We
love
would
that.
definitely do that. And I hope that our audience members and hopefully you will share this podcast with your friends. And
Oh, of course.
and I hope for those who have come upon this podcast and had not met or knew of Christine before this day, um, check this person out. Check Christine out. She is you know, we have been very fortunate, and this is where um I don't take the path that I'm on for granted, as I know you don't take the path that you're on for granted. Um, like I said, I don't necessarily believe in coincidences, if you will. Yes, maybe some things happen randomly, and it wasn't in my plan, but sometimes it sure does seem like it was in somebody's plan.
Right.
And we are very happy that our paths had an opportunity to cross. And like I said, what we're about here and what we're trying to do here is build a community of diverse creatives. And we definitely want you to be a part of that community. And we're hoping that, in the future, there are other, maybe we can help you bring that Harriet Tubman movie um, to light. We're looking for projects. We've got to build our network first. But that's something I'd be interested in doing. So thank you so much, Christine, for taking some time with us today. It was a pleasure speaking with you. And I want to thank our audience members once again. Please subscribe if you like our conversations. If you've been listening to our podcast, please subscribe to the podcast and wherever you're currently getting your podcast. And if I can make a quick plug, you can watch it on Facebook and YouTube, and I definitely recommend you look at the visual portion, but you can replay it, go back to your favorite parts on your audio podcast too. So you can do both, just say it. A little plug out there to subscribe to multiple outlets. So thank you, everybody. This has been the Quintasia podcast on behalf of Hard Zlatko and our guest Christine Dixon today. I am Gregory Q. Jenkins. Thank you so much, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.